Hi there, SharePoint enthusiasts! Today I'm gonna walk you through how to work with SharePoint Online Management Shell. SharePoint Online Management is the only official online PowerShell module developed and supported by Microsoft, and it allows SharePoint administrators to manage the SharePoint Online environment. You can use it to change the global SharePoint tenant settings, create SharePoint sites, register hubs, and more. In other words, you can do nearly every task you typically perform in the SharePoint Online Admin Center. Nifty, huh? But before we continue, I gotta tell you, this module has a few limitations. For example, it won't work with SharePoint lists, list items, documents, navigation, and other low-level SharePoint tasks. If you're looking for that kind of thing, you'll have to use a separate module called P&P PowerShell. So here's what I typically use this module for: changing SharePoint tenant settings, creating SharePoint sites, assigning site collection administrators, locking sites, registering hub sites, enabling site scripts, and creating site app catalogs. If you're still trying to decide which PowerShell module to choose, take a look at this comparison table. Now, let's launch PowerShell version 5. The new version PowerShell 7 isn't supported yet. We'll install the module by running this command. Did you notice the scope switch? It's my favorite way of installing modules. When you use this switch, it doesn't require local administrator privileges. Now that the module is installed, let's connect to SharePoint Online. To run this, you have to be a SharePoint administrator. By the way, the reason you see admin in the URL is that you have to connect to the SharePoint Online admin site, not to a specific SharePoint site. Okay, let's create a simple SharePoint site using this command. Next, let's assign a SharePoint administrator to the newly created site. I could go on, but why bother? You can explore the full list of commands on your own. One little drawback: this module doesn't support unattended authentication. You gotta stick around to the computer in order to authenticate and run scripts. And now you know how and when to use SharePoint Online Management Shell. Maybe it can't do everything, but it sure works for me, and I use it a lot.